Good afternoon, everybody. Added in a little scene there. I don't know how well that's going to work out, how loud that is, but I was playing a little bit with OBS. What I'd really like it to do is that when it's done, it automatically transitions into this main scene with my camera and the screen on it. But I can't figure out how to do that. But baby steps, baby steps. So, in any event, if you can hear my voice, and if you're watching my Portal Revolution streams earlier this week, I have a cold. I've been fighting a code for fighting a code. Haven't been fighting any code. Fighting a cold for the past couple of days. It's now transitioned into the sinus congestion thing, whereas before my throat was really sore. So I still have a little bit of a sore throat, but it isn't as bad as it was before, though I still probably sound a little bad. In any event, this is a random code stream. I'm going to start doing Advent of Code. As you can see, it's up here. And I did this in 2022. I didn't stream it, but in 2022, what I would do is I would try to get through each day that day. And I pulled it off. There's a video in my channel if you want to go look it up, where I quickly summarize each day and what went on that day. Some of them were pretty easy. Some of them were a little bit taking, I had to spend some time thinking about it. Some of them were very hard. So I have no idea. I haven't looked at all at this. I have set up a Advent of Code 2024 repository. So if you want to take a look at that, you can. But I'm going to kind of follow the same thing I did before. Is just have one class with a method and pass in what I need to if I need to. And if I need to write unit tests, I can write unit tests. And this will run the code for that day. Keep it simple. I am thinking of, if this goes decently well, of then committing to next year, doing Advent of Code with a language that I'm not very fluent in. It doesn't mean I wouldn't spend time looking into it. It just means I've known C# for, almost 25 years at this point, 23, 24, something like that, even before it was released in 2002. So it is my mainstay language for good, bad, or indifferent. But I've been thinking it might be good to try to pick up another language and really dive into it and get to know it. So not this time. Don't want to do that this time, but I'm going to consider doing that depending upon how this goes. So without further ado, I'm going to get some music started in the background, and shuffle is off. Repeat should be on. Why are you doing that? That is, no, play all. There you go. Stupid technology. Okay. Rules of this are very simple. If you watch, that's great. If you ask some questions about it, that's great. If you want to ask me anything about coding, that's great. Don't just give me the answer. Even if you come into chat and give me answers, I'm just going to consider that they're wrong or invalid. I do remember from last year with Advent of Code that when I would try to submit an answer, most of the time I was confident that when I was submitting an answer, it was the right one. And so it would say, yep, you're right. A couple times I didn't get it right at first. And I do think if I faintly remember that it does give you a warning to say, hey, you can't just keep submitting answers. And it would soft lock you out in a way for a little bit of time if you tried to do that, which makes sense. So don't give answers, anything like that in the chat. If I'm really stuck, and if I can tell people are watching, I might ask for some help, but we'll see. All 25 days now are available because I didn't do anything, each day. So my strategy on this, I want to get each day done sequentially. But what I might do is if something's just really throwing me, I might just skip to another one. And then I can think about the thing that held me up and come back to that in another stream. So I have no idea how many parts this is going to take, but we'll never know unless we try, right? So if you've never done Advent of Code before, at least when I did it last year, or no, 2 years ago, Each day has two problems, a simple one and a harder one, and they're all based around the holiday, winter, elf characters and stuff like that. At least they were in 2022. And so the first one is typically easier, and then the second one kind of ramps it up a little bit. There was one problem in 2022 that the easy one threw me for hours. I could not figure it out. I finally did, but oh man, that was tough. So I guess it depends on what you think is easy or hard. So in any event, let's take a look at, and again, last thing, if you've never seen this before, you want to do it yourself, if I'm lucky to solve all these, if I'm solving them, you're obviously going to see the answers. So that's, if you've already done this, then you can just watch me suffer. That's fine too. All right. So without further ado, let's go to 1. All right. So I might kind of buzz through this. Day 1, Historian Hysteria. The chief historian is always present at the big Christmas sleigh launch, but nobody has seen him in months. Last anyone heard, he was visiting locations that are historically significant to the North Pole. A group of senior historians has asked you to accompany them as they check the places they think he was most likely to visit. Okay. As each location is checked, they will mark it on their list with a star. They'll figure the chief historian must be in one of the first 50 places they'll look. So in order to save Christmas, you need to help them get 50 stars on their list before Santa takes off to December 25th. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Yep, same thing as before. You haven't even left yet, and the group of elvish senior historians has already hit a problem. Their list of locations to check is currently empty. Eventually, someone decides that the best place to check first would be the chief historian's office. Upon pouring into the office, everyone confirms that the chief historian is indeed nowhere to be found. Instead, the elves discover an assortment of notes and lists of historically significant locations. This seems to be the planning the chief historian was doing before he left. Perhaps these notes can be used to determine which locations to search. Throughout the chief's office, the historically significant locations are listed not by name, but by a unique number called the location ID. To make sure they don't miss anything, the historians split into 2 groups, each searching the office and trying to create their own complete list of location IDs. There's just one problem. By holding the 2 lists up side by side, your puzzle input, it quickly becomes clear that the lists aren't very similar. Maybe you can help the historians reconcile their lists. For example, you got 342, 435, Maybe the lists are only off by a small amount. To find out, pair up the numbers and measure how far apart they are. Pair up the smallest number in the left list with the smallest number in the right list, then the second smallest left number with the second smallest right number, and so on. Within each pair, figure out how far apart the 2 numbers are. You'll need to add up all of those distances. For example, if you pair up a 3 from the left list with the number from the right list, the distance apart is 4, 7 minus 3. If you pair up a 9 with a 3, 6. Example list above, the pairs and distances will be as follows. Is 1, and the smallest number in the right list is 3, is 2. 2. Yeah, so it's the 2 numbers between them. The one thing I thought of is, it doesn't matter, like the left list is always going to be strictly smaller. You basically have to find the difference, the absolute value between the differences. 0, the next number to pair up with 3 or 4, distance of 1. Finally, the largest number on the left list is 4, while the largest number in the right list is 9. 5. To find the total distance between the left list and the right list, add up the distances between all the pairs you found. In the example above, this is 2 plus 1 total. Your actual left and right lists contain many location IDs. Okay, so let's get our puzzle input. Usually I will put this in a text file, and let's go to my repos, Random.Code. Where did I put them in 2022? I think I put them in the application yet. So we'll do the same thing in 2024. We'll put them in the source, host, and we'll say day one input text file. Okay. So that's great, but we don't want to do the whole list. Like I said, having a list like this, we already have a test case, so that's good. So what we probably want to do is we could probably get a list of strings and assume, well, what can we do? I mean, I kind of know how to do this. It's just the structuring of the input. If we look at the input here and we come back, because we should be able to see it here now. This is separated by 3 spaces. Is it always 3 spaces? Yes. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that the second part of the problem could be a little bit tougher, but I'm going to assume that that's good enough. Okay. So what we could do is just read the file in, split it on 3 spaces, the left part we parse into an int, the right part we parse into an int, put them both in lists, sort the lists ascending, and then just for each one, find the difference between the two, and as we find those differences, add up the differences. And that's your output. So let's make this an immutable array of string input. Okay, so what we want to have here is var, and what are these called again? These are just numbers. Left location IDs is equal to, we'll say, a new list of ints. Same thing there. And then we're going to say, well, actually, do we even need to? No, we don't even need to keep. Well, yeah, we do. We do, because we can't just read these in one by one. We have to read them in, and then, because we don't know if there's going to be one that's smaller than the other one. So I was about to make an optimization that would have been very bad. For each var, we'll call it item. And then we'll say var left location ID is equal. We'll say IDs is equal to item.split, and the separator is the 3. Okay. And then we'll say left location IDs dot add. We'll say int parse IDs of 0. And then we'll say this is 1. What are you complaining about here? Oh, that's got to be right. What are you complaining? Ah, geez, culture. I have no culture. Current culture. Oh, no. That's got to go in here. There we go. Okay. So that should split each string. And then we can then say left location IDs, that's sort. And is that an in-memory sort? If I remember right, yeah, it is. Right location IDs sort for each. We don't want to do that. We want to say for var I is equal to 0. I is, yeah, because they both should be the same. So, and then we want to have var difference is equal to 0 here. We're going to say difference plus equals the int absolute value of left location IDs at 0, right location IDs at 0. There. And why is that complaining? Oh, subtract. There we go. Okay. And then we want to say here console right line difference. Now, let's actually write a test. I'm almost positive this is correct. But we want to have, because we already have an example here. And the example doesn't necessarily, yeah, I wish it wasn't formatted this way. Well, actually, no, we could do it that way, right? Because it's in this format, so we might as well say var input is equal to, and then we can do this. And then we can say, it is multi-line there. It'd be nice if I could just split the multi-line string. Well, I should be able to. I should be able to say, actually, let's make this return the value. And then we'll say here, var difference is equal to, well, we don't even need to do that. We can say assert that solution day one dot run of input dot split on environment. This is probably bad. Culture in culture info current culture split on that. What is the problem here? You should be able to split on a, now what? Ah, yes. To immutable array, and then we're going to say is equal to, and then what do they say the answer is? 11. Oh, it can be. You're right, that funky syntax. Is that true? Nope, it is not. It was 12. That's interesting. Let's just make sure we're getting the right input here. We should have 6. It is a length of 6. Oh, God. And that passes. Okay. So now if we come in here, we should be able to say file.read all text. Actually, we want to make sure that, do I have that in the previous repository advent of code 2022? I don't remember if I had a thing in the application to say copy all the files. Well, I did, but it's a crappy one. So let's make that a little better. Update. We're going to say any input file copied output directory. Always. Reload projects. Fine. Okay. What was... Wait, what? My keyboard just... Sure, save, but that was weird. My ability to language went completely out the window. Yeah, it's like it wouldn't take any input from my keyboard. Or it just was being very... Oh. Well, it helps to... Oh, I inadvertently did that. There you go. Reload project. I need to have the emphasis on the right syllable. Okay, so read all text. We want day one input txt. Actually, we want read all lines, right? And then we can say to immutable and let us give us the collection expression, pass that in. And what are you saying? Oh yeah, expression value is never used. You're right, because we want to say console dot write line. The answer is whatever comes out, right? And then we'll just take this out. This is set to run, right? No, it's not. So it's okay. I actually need to have my keyboard here so I can do that. Okay. What do we get for an answer? Is that correct? Hey! I need the Halo Grunt birthday party when you pop their head to sound to go. Okay. Where did we put? I think we put I shouldn't have closed that so soon. I put the I bet I put the answers in docs, right? Let's go to repos, JSON back. Docs. Yes, I did. Let's sure, well, let's open it up in code. Why not? You can see all the other crap that I've been working on. There's the first one. That one was actually not too bad. But there's a two-parter to this. So oh, my wife is so funny. So we got married in 1997, so next year will be 28. So yeah, 27 years we've been married. It's getting to that point where I've got to do that math in my head and go, wait a minute, how long has it been? Now, could this be optimized? Yes. I'm not so worried about optimizing right now. As I do this, I might think a little bit more about optimizing stuff. But as I showed, you need tests because doing the 0th one would not help at all. So but yeah, I might come back to these and optimize them out a little bit. So actually one thing I could do is the capacity. So you could say input.capacity. Not the capacity, but the length. And so that will, you're going to allocate that much, right? Actually, array.sort, right? So we could do that. We could just make these arrays and get rid of the list entirely. So we could say new int of that size. And then the same thing here. And of course we can't add, so we're going to have to make this a 4. Yeah, sure, I is good. We're going to get the item, and now we're going to say here that we're going to pass imp of I is equal to whatever this parses out to be. And then the same thing for the right. And then we could say here, array.sort on that. Same thing for the right. And now this is just length. And now if we run that, we get nothing. Well, ain't that great? What did I do here? Sorts the elements in an entire array. What happens if we run the test? Yeah, I done goofed something there. Yeah, definitely thinks it's just 0. I don't want to do this too much. What I might do is just keep notes and say, hey, what would happen if I change this to an array rather than. So this is on like this 6. Oops. Yeah, that goofed something there. Okay, that should be okay though, right? What is item? And that should have, like if I say split here, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fine. So I should be able to split it. Now, it's 3 and a oh. Is this 1, 2, no, 1, 2, 3. It should. 1, 2, oh, I don't have as much. And this should be 1. And now that passes. And now we get that. That seemed much faster though. You notice that? It seemed a lot faster to run. So I'm going to take some performance notes here. Yes, I have notes here. Let's open that up in VS Code as well. How do we want to organize this? Day 1, do a comparison on the difference between using a list and an int. There. Because I think I did that the last time I did this, which is just to make notes about possible performance improvements in the future. And that is right? 240. Yeah, that is. Okay. All right. So let's commit that. Day 1, problem 1 solved. And I'm just committing to main. I'm not going to do any branches or anything like that. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple for now. So what's the second part now? What's the second part of the problem? You're 1 gold star closer to finding. Continue to part 2. Your analysis only confirmed what everyone feared. The 2 lists of location IDs are indeed very different. Or are they? The historians can't agree on which group made the mistakes or how to read most of the chief's handwriting. But in the commotion, you notice an interesting detail. A lot of location IDs appear in both lists. Okay. Maybe the other numbers aren't location IDs at all, but rather misinterpreted handwriting. This time, you'll need to figure out exactly how often each number from the left list, need to figure out exactly how often each number from the left list appears in the right list. Calculate a total similarity score by adding up each number in the left list after multiplying it by the number of times that number appears in the right list. Okay, so here's our example. For these example lists, here's a process of finding the similarity score. The first number in the left list is 3. It shows up 3 times. So the similarity score increases by 3. 3 times 3 is equal to 9. The second number in the left list is 4. That shows up once. Appears in the right list once. 4. Okay. The third number is a 2. That doesn't show up, so that should be 0. Fourth number doesn't show up. That's fifth number we've already done. That's 9. So it increases by 9 again. So we don't have to sort this. We just have to say, for this number, how many times did it show up on the right? Of course, there's an optimization that I can think of off the top of my head, which is, as you're going through this, the number on the left, as you're seeing here, could show up multiple times. If you've already pre-calculated, you don't need to do that. But what's the optimization of keeping those around when you don't know how many of those there are? Okay. So how do I want to encode this? Well, we're already doing the split here. What we could do, the thing is, we have the same input. What we want to do is say like, hey, run part 1. Right? I think I like that, run part 1. Let's do that. And then we'll say run part 2. So we have this, we split. We don't need to do anything else. We don't even need to sort it. Well, okay, so there's a couple things here. Day 1. Part 1. Part 2. Should the arrays be sorted and then do something to handle previously discovered IDs? Because one thing you could do too here is say, well, we gotta preserve the right list. The left list, you don't. The left list can just be unique IDs. So that could actually be a hash set. So let's just do that. This is going to be a new hash set of an int. And its initial capacity, what's the right thing to do here? Do we set it to what it could be? Because we're thinking it might be less, but that's fine. Let's just say add, the location I use add, and then we're going to put the item in there. What did that do? That's fine. We don't care if it's setting it or not. And this thing is just it's not a compiler error. It's just something that's showing that there's a return value and you're not using the value. And this is just saying in C# to be explicit, that's just a discard. It's saying, I know you do it. I'm explicitly discarding it. I don't care. We don't need to sort it. We actually don't need to even sort the we don't have to, because we got to traverse the array every time. What might be interesting to do is do the reverse. Like, you have to keep the right list, but look at a value and say, is that in there? Now, let's just keep it this way for now. So now we say left location IDs count. And why is this being a pain? I thought there was a... It's a hash set, right? You should be able to Oh, come on. I know it's going to be in there. You know what? Let's do this. For each var value in left location IDs. Okay. So now we're going to find, what is this called? Similarity. And this should be an int. So now we need, how many times does this int show up? And we want to, and we're adding them together. So we're going to say similarity plus equals value times the number of times it shows up in the right location IDs. Count and returns a number that represents how many elements in the specified sequence satisfy a condition. So the number in the sequence, does that equal value? Okay, so let's go to our tests here. This doesn't need to be add. This is part 1. Let's do part 2. Even if we get the right answer, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right, you know. So just turn down the volume a little bit, getting a little bit unbearable. The problem said that this test case is 31. So let's do that. And I failed. Well, at least I got a value. So, similarity should be plus equals similarity. So we have 0. What? Stop, what the heck? I'm in the wrong place. Okay. What are you doing? Your changes resulted in build errors. What are you talking about? What errors? Hot read? What? What in the hell are you talking about? I am confused. Why is this being... Why is it doing this? Invalid change error found. Please refer to the error list to fix those issues. What? Disable. Jesus, just... Dear Lord. Okay, so... we have a value of 3. And if I remember right, they said that when we find 3, it should be 9. So this should end up being 9, right? And it is. Okay. Now the value is 4. 4 showed up once. So it should be 9 plus 4 is 13, which it is. Oh, son of a... I just realized what I did wrong. I was over optimizing. You can't make this a hash set. Each of these have to be... Yeah. Never mind. Read the problem, Jason. But then the rest of it should be fine. And it is, so now let's go here. We'll say run part. We can say here, part 1 is equal to, and then we put that like that. That like that. And then so here we can say part 2. Is that correct? That it is. Okay, so day 1 complete. Wasn't too hard. I remember last year, day 1's problem was pretty simple. But if you think it's going to stay this way, oh, it's not. So I do like this idea of optimization. In that, or do something. So like if you already calculated the 3, why do the calculation again? Look it up. But the problem is then you have to maintain a dictionary to do the lookup first. And of course, then it balances like how many hits would you actually have in the input list where you've already done the calculation. But is that saving enough based on what is in the right list? Because then you don't have to search through it all again. So, an idea for another day. But we have our answers. All right, so that's day 1, part 2 is done. And push that. All right, so I am going to get some... Share this on Blue Sky, Twitter. Ugh. Or return to your Advent or return to your Advent. So yay, I got some text here. Yippee. Okay, so notepad. What time is it? 2:44. I'm going to say 2:48-ish Central Standard Time. I'm going to be right back with some coffee. By the way, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to hit that first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. I love watching streamers that say, we're really close to 1 million, guys. And I'm like, good for you. But I would love to get to 1,000 because that starts hitting that ad revenue thing. But it would also it's good to just grow the base. So please subscribe if you haven't done that already. I'm just going to fill my coffee. I will be right back. I'll leave the music going. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Told you I'd be back. Told you I'd be back. Doesn't take that long for me to get coffee at my house. All right. So that's problem 1 done. What's problem 2? Red-nosed reports. Fortunately, the first location the historians want to search isn't a long walk from the chief historian's office. While the red-nosed reindeer nuclear fusion fission plant, it's from 2015, appears to contain no sign of the chief historian, the engineers there run up to you as soon as they see you. Apparently, they still talk about the time Rudolph was saved through molecular synthesis from a single electron. They're quick to add that, since you're already here, they'd really appreciate your help analyzing some unusual data from the red-nosed reactor. You turn to check if the historians are waiting for you, but they seem to have already divided into groups that are currently searching every corner of the facility. You offer your help with the unusual data. And the unusual data, your puzzle input, consists of many reports, 1 report per line. Each report is a list of numbers called levels that are separated by spaces. Okay. This example data contains 6 reports, each containing 5 levels. Makes sense. I'm guessing these are all going to be separated by spaces. The engineers are trying to figure out which reports are safe. The red-nosed reactor safety systems can only tolerate levels that are either gradually increasing or gradually decreasing. So a report only counts as safe if both of the following are true. The levels are either all increasing or all decreasing. Any 2 adjacent levels differ by at least 1 and at most 3. Okay. In the example above, the reports can be found safe or unsafe by checking these rules. So those are all decreasing by 1 or 2. So it's at least 1 inclusive and at most 3. So those are 1 and 3 are inclusive on the range. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. 2 and 7 is too big. 9, 7, 6, 2, 1. That's probably too big. Yep. 1, 3, 2 because it goes down and up. Unsafe wide. It's because it's 0. Well, it's neither an increase or decrease. It falls outside the difference. So the first one tells you which way it should be going. And then from that point on, either the difference has to be the same sign. Either its sign is either the difference is less than 0. You know, it's the absolute value of the difference is between 1 and 3. And it's if the initial difference was negative, less than 0, it has to be less than 0. Otherwise, it has to be greater than 0, and otherwise be positive. How many reports are safe? Okay. Let's get the puzzle input. And yeah, so it's an arbitrary list of things. So like this has 5, this is, so, but we can split, it looks like, on a single space. I thought I could say save as. Yeah. Day 2 input. Okay, so we got our input and we have a test case, right? But we don't assume. We assume that there's got to be at least 2. Otherwise, what's the point? After that, we don't know. So each input could have an n number of. Okay. So we can do this. This is day 2. We're going to have a run part 1 and a run part 2. Yes, I will be returning an input at some point. Go away. So var safe count is equal to 0, return safe count. So what we want to say is var levels is equal to, well, for each var report and input, not repot, report. Var levels is equal to report.split, and in this case we can assume that. And we could say select each one of those as an int.parse of that. And you're going to complain, yeah, the whole culture info, current culture. Now this should select into an enumerable of ints. Yes, perfect. That's what we wanted. But let's do this to array. We don't have to, but we want to grab the first two. Now, even by grabbing the first two, that difference still has to fall within the threshold, the tolerance, the absolute tolerance level, or however we want to call that. So now we have levels. We could say, to make it a little simpler, we could just say, well, we can't, because we don't know when we do the first two what the previous one was. Unless we start at 1, but we also have to do 1 and 0. We have to do 0 and 1 as well. So what we could say here is var, what did they call it here? Direction is, well, the difference is levels of 0 minus levels of 1. Is safe difference. So it's either going to be difference is greater than or equal to -3, or difference is less than or equal to -1, or, well, it's either got to be, it has to be this and this, or it has to be this. Greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 3. Use pattern matching. Sure, we can use pattern matching. Yeah, I know. I remember hearing a discussion about this where they were like, you want to make sure that you have parentheses on stuff because it might not be exactly what you think it is, but that kind of reads difference is greater 3 and less than 1, or it's greater than equal to 1 and less than or equal to 3. Okay, so if is safe difference and we want a static, let's just put it in here, public, this has to be day 2. Enum direction, ascending, descending. So we want a direction, get difference direction into difference. We're going to return difference is less than 0. That means it's direction descending, otherwise it's ascending. Now, this is a little dangerous because what happens if we're checking the safe difference first? And so now we can say, let's get the direction, required direction is equal to get the difference direction of that. Okay. I could also make sure that I'm also checking it. Be safe, but that's fine. So now what we're going to do is if this is safe, then we say for var I is equal to 1, because we're not going to go through the 0th one. So now we say the difference. Yeah, you're not going to like that because we could call this starting. The current difference is I, and then also I gotta be careful here. Because we don't want to fall off the end of the array. Okay, so now we get the current difference. And then we say if his safe distance and get difference direction of this is equal to the required direction. Then we say safe count plus plus. Else we can break out. We don't have to do any more calculations because we're done. Yep, there we go. Let me review this quick. So we get all the levels. We figure out what the starting difference is. We determine if it's safe. If it's safe, then we figure out which direction we're going. So then we go through 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4. But we have to go not off the end of the array. And we get the difference. We determine if it's a safe distance. And is the difference direction the same as the required direction? We could put in here ascending, descending, flat. And the reason why I'm going to do that is else if difference is greater than 0, then we're going to do this. Otherwise, we're going to say it's flat. Because you could have 4 and 4. So that's that one. Otherwise, we say this. That's that one. There. And we should say if, just to be safe, not required, yeah, required direction, if it's equal to flat, no, break. No, we don't want to, we want to continue. We don't have to do this line anymore. Oh, break though here, that's on the individual report. Okay. So we want to make sure that we don't run into a flat line. We can't assume it would be ascending. That was going to actually be a bug. So, but with this start, we're assuming it's got to be either positive or negative. And so there's no reason to do this because it has to be either positive or negative. It's got to be descending or ascending. You know what I mean? But we could get a flat out of here. Okay, so let's do some tests here. We don't have part 2 yet, and we'll get there. So what's our input like? This. Now we're going to split. Oh, so on the new line, we're going to still split on the new line. So this is 2. But we're doing solution day 2, which is in a different namespace. Is that correct? It is not. It was 0. Of course it is. So we have 76421. Right. Starting difference is oh, wait a minute. Okay, one thing I've got wrong here. I don't know if it actually matters. If it's greater than, that means the previous number was bigger than that. So it means we're actually descending. If it's less than, that means it was like 3 to 5, and that means we're ascending. Because it'd be 3 minus 5 is 2. So not that that's going to matter. I think, yeah, it still fails. So, all right, so let's do this. Why did it? Wait, why did it do that? Solution day 2. Solution day 2 tests. Why? Why did it skip over that? That's weird. Did you see that? It went to the second one right away. That's not what I want. Something's acting funky here. I should state that I am trying out the whole new test project, the new test runner. I use central package management, so it's .NET 5 or whatever, or I'm sorry, NUnit 5. It's the whole new testing platform, so this stuff is a little bit new and it might be a little bit buggy. But that was a little unexpected, but whatever. Okay, so the starting difference should be 1, and that should be safe, and the required direction should end up being descending. Oh, well, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Still wrong. Expected 2 was 8. How do you get 8? Oh, well. Yeah, I know what I did wrong. I counted too much. What we want to say is for each report, we can say var is safe and assume it to be true. Okay. This is going to get a little ugly, but is safe is false. And then what we want to do is reverse this. We want to say if not that. Oh, in there. Yeah. So if it's not safe, is safe is equal to false, and we break out. So then down here say if is safe plus plus. Now we pass. All right, now we are on to the big one. Run day 2. Yep, you're not existing yet. But we don't want day 2. We don't want day 1 output. So we've run day 2, solution day 2, run part 1. What do we think part 1 is? 202. Is that correct? That's the right answer. Day 2, part 1 is done. Okay, so we've got that done. A little messy. I'm not entirely happy with the way this ended up, but it does what it needs to do. So, continue to part 2. The engineers are surprised by the low number of safe reports. I don't even know how many reports there were, until they realized they forgot to tell you about the problem dampener. The problem dampener is a reactor-mounted module that lets the reactor safety systems tolerate a single bad level in what would otherwise be a safe report. It's like the bad level never happened. Now, the same rules apply before, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe. The report instead counts as safe. More of the above examples report are now safe. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, that's cute. That's a cute one. So what it's saying is, if it's safe, you're good. If it's unsafe, now what you have to do is go through each one and remove it. And then process the report as though that level doesn't exist. And so you can see here, if you remove the first one, it doesn't help because you would go down, but then you would go up. If you remove the second one, that helps because they all go up and they're all within that tolerance. So basically what you have to do is say, if you're safe, you're good. If it's unsafe, now you actually have to create basically temporary reports, pulling out each like the 0th one and the first one, the second one, all the way to the end, and then put it through your processing to say, is this a safe report? So I think we need to do some reshuffling on our code here. We're going to pull this out. Refactoring, right? We're going to make that a private static. But you may have wondered, why did my local function to make it static? It's because then it forces you to not capture state from outside. So that's why. Now we want to say, well, given a set of levels, is it safe? So levels here ends up being an int array. So we want to say private static bool is safe, int levels. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to basically take all this code here I'm going to put it down here. Return is safe. We don't need to split here anymore. I was like, why did it go gray? And it's like, oh yeah, because I'm not actually calling it yet. So here we do need to get the levels, but is safe is going to tell us is safe on the levels. And then we can pull this. Let's change this to our levels safe. So in part one, we don't need to do, we can just do that. Okay. And in fact, if we run this, oh, I haven't finished part two. What I just want to see here is if I run this, we do get 202. So that refactoring is okay because we get the same answer. But now what we can do is we can say basically the same thing except completely different. What we're going to do here is we're still going to get the levels, but now if we get a safe count, we bail. That's the simple one. But now we want to be a little bit more tolerant. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say for var I is equal to 0, I less than levels dot length I plus plus. And we want to make a new array that is the levels array sans the index. So you can't do that with an array. We could do it with a list. This would be gross, but it would work. Var levels adapter. New list of int passing in levels. Now, yeah, it's going to be even grosser, but what we want to do here is we want to say levels adapter remove at I. And this is in place, right? And remember, yes. Now what we want to do is say if this one is safe, bail. Levels adapter to array fine. And then we break. And that breaks out of the for loop. So if we never find any, that's okay, because then we don't count it at all. We tried. So now if we come to here, we take that same input and we say solution day 2. So there's got to be 2 here. Oh, that's interesting. So this one doesn't have, yeah, okay. Okay. So what did it say is going to be, now 4 should actually be safe. Is that correct? It passes. Let's go to our program here. Part 2, solution day 2 of day 2 input. We are running day 2. Let's see what happens. 271. Is that correct? That's the right answer. All right. So do I do another one? Do I do another one? I do. Excuse me. I do want to stop around 4, which is fine. If I don't get through the third one, that's fine. So we can keep going. All right. So we have 2 here now. Okay. Feels like we're going well, but we, as in I know, this can all go to hell in a heartbeat. Very, very easily. Very easily. So, let's commit our stuff. Git commit. I don't know if I did this for day 2. Part 2 is complete. Okay. You can go to github.com/jasonbox/Advent of Code 2024 to see my work that I'm doing here. You can also see the same repository name, except it's Advent of Code 2022 for my 2022 work, if you want to. All right. And again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'm trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, so please consider doing that. Day 3, mull it over. Our computers are having issues, so I have no idea if we have any chief historians in stock. You're welcome to check the warehouse, though, says the Molly Fluster shopkeeper at the North Pole Toboggan Rental Shop. That's from 2020 day 2. Okay. The historians head out to take a look. The shopkeeper turns to you. Any chance you can see why our computers are having issues again? The computer appears to be trying to run a program, but its memory, your puzzle input, is corrupted. All of the instructions have been jumbled up. Great parsing. It seems like the goal of the program is just to multiply some numbers. It does that with instructions like mul x and y, where x and y are each 1 to 3 digit numbers. For instance, mul of 4 is 46, multiplies 4 is get a result of 2024. Assuming mul 20 will multiply, yeah. However, because the program's memory has been corrupted, there are also many invalid characters that should be ignored. Regex. I'll screw that up so badly. Even if they look like part of a mul instruction. Sequences like mul 4 do nothing. For example, consider the following section of corrupted memory. X mul 2. Only the 4 highlighted sections are real mul instructions. Adding up the result of each instruction produces 161. Scan the corrupted memory for uncorrupted mul instructions. What do you get if you add up all the results? Why are you making me do regex? I don't have GitHub Copilot installed. I mean, I could do it step by step. Regex is the right way. I can't write regex to save my life. But what we want to do is find a 3-digit sequence of MUL followed immediately by a left paren, followed immediately by a 1 to 3 digit number, followed immediately by a comma, followed immediately by a 1 to 3 digit number, followed by parentheses. And we want to find every match of those. Then when we do that, then we know we have a format of mul, left paren, some junk, right paren. And then we can pull out the junk, split it, get the 2 integers, and there you go. And you could probably, in the regex, capture the left and right as capture points, or whatever you call those. It's just, I can't write regex. This is where regex is killing me, man. I could do this manually-ish and saying, start at the 0th character. If the next 3 are equal to mul, then move to the next character. If that's equal to a left paren, then look for like the next 3 characters. And then once you either, if you don't find a number, it's got to be a comma. And then once you find a failure point, you would start there. Like my logic would say is the first 3 characters equal to mul. No, but because it'd be x mu, but then you have to look at the next one, so you really can't do that. Write me a regular expression. That just feels like cheating. That really feels like cheating. But let's try this. I mean, but you saw what I was talking about there before, right? Because I can't say if the first 3 characters skip to the next 3. I got to look at the next one, because then those 3 could be correct. If those are correct, as soon as I find one where it's not correct, I stop there and I would move forward. So yes, I know, expression body for local functions. Clean it up a bit. We don't know if we're gonna what we're going to do, or you just say void on part 1. Just leave it that way for now. Right, okay. I'm going to take that off. And then that we'll be using 3. You're not going to use it, but we are doing it now. Actually, we could. Oh, we can't return anything. Whatever. Okay. I forget. One thing I am going to look up is .NET source generator regular expression. I think in .NET 9 they improved it a little bit. .NET introduced array and corresponding array. The following partial method will be source generated with all the necessary code. Ah, okay, that's right. You first had to put it on like a property or something, and they've changed that now. So now you can say something like what I'm about to do here, which is that. Get mul expression. So we want to get all the matches. So we want to say var mul matches is equal to get mul expression matches on. So we want to say here for each var, what were they calling it here? Our instructions and input. So the intent is we're going to get all the matches, right? And the matches are on the instructions. Except what we're going to be looking for here is mul that. Except this is where I'm going to struggle. 0 to 9, but like 3 times or something like that. 1 to 3. Yeah, now we need to make this a partial. Matches a string mul, first capture group. Match a character in the set 0 to 9. Well, that's not quite right. I love that they do this, though. You want to match a character. Help! Regular expression. This I'll do. Regular expression, character, match multiple. Match 2 or more. I don't know. Regular expression match. Can you do something like this? No, that doesn't do anything. Exactly 2 times. That's not what I want. I want to say match. Hey. The 1 is a back reference to the first capture group. In this case, and to limit, you can replace the plus with a specific number of repetitions using n, such as 1, 3 will match it 3 times. We need tertiary. I don't want this to be a capture group. I want that to be a literal. No. Regular expression, literal character. It should be that /4. Is it a slash? Yeah. Fine. Whatever works, I don't care. Why are you saying a capture? It's like it's not. It's weird. It's not picking up. There we go. It's like I had to compile again. Match the string mul that. Match a character in the set. Match a character in the set. Match that. So we're getting closer. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to say something like this. We want to find that how about if I don't want to match it like I want it to match once or twice or 3 times. That's what I want. What's this one? Allow you to specify the range for this repetition such that a no more than 3 times, but no less than once. Oh, D is digit. Okay. Yep. See, I'm learning. I'm being a regex expert. People that really know regex are probably just like cringing right now. Would match exactly more convenience, but I'm able to repetition the character without using the curly brace. For example, A of 3 would match a character exactly 3 times. Certain regular expressions, as well, even allow specify range for repetition, such as A. Oh, so we could just say here D 1 3. Match a Unicode digit atomically at least 1 and at most 3 times. Well, that sounds like what I want, right? Let's assume that's right. I don't know if that's right, but let's assume that's right. Now, what we want to say is, let's get back to the problem at hand. So what we want is var mul summation, and that's what we're going to return. And then we're going to say for each no var mul match and mul matches, right? Because then this should be, oh, does it have anything more helpful? So mul matches should give you a match, right? And then what is... gets the captured substring from the input string. Var mul is equal to that. Now what we need is var mul values, which, yes, I could... I thought that would do it. First capture group, yes, that's what we want. I don't care about the value. We want to say mul summation is now plus equal to int.parse of the mul captures at 0 dot value, which is a string, and yes, culture info current, you know what that is, current culture, times, and we're bound by an int because it can only be 3 times 3, so we're good there. If this works, I'm going to be so surprised. I'd be like, you're so full of it. There's no way that this could work. Well, let's look at our mul expression. So we're going to match the string mul, blah, and then we're going to look for a capture group, which matches a Unicode digit atomically at least once and at most 3 times. Then a comma, and then a second capture group, that, and then we need the closing parenthesis. If we get all that, then that is a match. We go through the matches, we get their captures. There should be 2 captures in there. We parse those out to an int, and we multiply those together. We take that result and we add them to the summation. So if all this is correct, and I don't think it is, because I'm old enough to go, if something works the first time, it's not right. There's something not correct. Okay, so let's go to solution day 3. That is day 3. We want this to be day 3. So this is going to be solution day 3. And in this case, they give us one thing here. And so this is just that. And what we should be able to do is say, in this case, we don't pass in an, well, yes, we do pass in an array. Aren't collection expressions awesome? This should be 161, which it isn't. I can tell you that right now. There's no way that could be that. So here's the thing. We're going to get an input, and we're going to get all the summations, and we're just going to add all those up. And then we go through another line, and we do all their summations, add them up. So we keep adding all the multiplications, and we get this. Let's close this off. And let's just see how awful of a coder I am. Yeah, that didn't work. The input string mul24 was not in a correct format. I got to int32 parse. Maybe I'm not using that. It did pick. So I got to line 20. Okay, that is right. So we might not just be using the right thing here. Let's see. How many matches did it get? 4. And that's correct. Look at, oh my God, would you look at that? I found 2, 4, 5, 5. Should have found 2, 4, 5, 5, 11, 8, and 8, 5. And it did. Holy crap. Holy crap. Okay, so we must just not be doing this right. Ah. Damn. So it's not quite there. So we say that. Oh, groups. That's a capture group. Oh, okay. So we could just say 1 and 2 there. Groups of 1 and groups of 2. Now what does that do? It passes. I guarantee you, again. Save as. Day 3 input. let's go to our program here. We got day 3. Part 1 solution, day 3, part 1, day 3 input. I don't believe you. You think that's the answer? Nobody tell anybody that anybody says I'm a regular expression expert, you can kiss my ass. Because that is not true at all. That was just complete guessing. But I'm surprised that I'm glad I went down the route of a regular expression, because that was the right way to do it, you know. All right, get day 3, part 1 is done. Now, continue to part 2. As you scan through the corrupted memory, you notice that some of the conditional statements are also still intact. If you handle some of the uncorrupted conditional statements in the program, you might be able to get an even more accurate answer. There are 2 new instructions you'll need to handle. The do instruction enables future molt instructions. The don't instruction disables future molt instructions. Only the most recent do or don't instruction applies. At the beginning of the program, mul instructions are enabled. For example, this corrupted memory is similar to the example from before, but this time the mul and mul 11 instructions 5.5 are disabled because there is a don't instruction before them. The other mul instructions functions normally, including the one at the end that gets re-enabled by a do. This time the sum of the results is 48. And so what do you get? So now I'm going through my head a little bit about how you'd solve this if you actually also tried to capture don'ts and do's. And then you could also, like, you could capture a valid mul instruction. You could also capture a valid do instruction, and you could capture a valid don't instruction. So you could look through and say, if I'm currently enabled, I do a match. You know, I do a match, assuming that that is a mul instruction. Then I do it. If I find a don't instruction, then I disable. And I keep that flag for all instructions that I find in other lines. If I find a do instruction, I enable. So let's try that. Get mul, do, don't expressions. So now I want to find a capture here. First capture group. We'll capture the string mul. Okay. We want 2 more capture groups. We want a second capture group that will say do explicitly with this and explicitly with that. And then we also want a don't like that. It's sort of correct. It's just that it doesn't have the I'm glad I did these separately. This is probably not the most ideal way of doing it, but whoever said ideal is good. So now what we want to do here is, again, we want to return int. We're going to sort of do the same thing, except we're going to completely twist this up. Come on. We'll just see how this plays out. Okay. Var is enabled is true by default. Now this isn't going to work because if we go to our solution day 3 tests, and let's take this and put that here. Solution day run part 2. Except we want to do it a slightly different way. I have no idea if this is going to work. Oh, fine. So what do we get? We get nothing. Yeah, I want it to be either I don't want to match like mul and a do and a don't right after. Optional. That is not right. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. So is it an optional capture group? Don't know if that's what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, that. It's like I want to say you either capture when it's a mult, or you capture when it's a do, or you capture. Can I just do that? I have no idea if that's valid. Matches with 3 alternate expressions atomically. I don't know. Oh, we got 4 this time, but they're all mults. They're all muls. Can you say you're optional? People that know regular expressions are probably just cringing at what I'm doing here right now. Match with 2 alternate expressions atomically. No, that ain't doing it. I mean, I wanted to say mull or do or don't. You know, and if you find any one of those three, that's not it either. Match with three alternative expressions. It's not right. We're still going to get 4. Yeah. So it's like I know what I want. I just, again, because I don't. So that's. There. But I mean, it's not what I. One of many capture groups. How do I don't even know how to express what I'm trying to say here. Huh. Generate. Yeah, that's what I did, guy. Thank you. Somebody's at least here. You can see it right here. Let me zoom in on that. Okay, so I am trying to put the whole, like, here is the mull capture, and then here's a do capture, and here's a don't capture. And so what I'm trying to do is say, either find a valid mull, because you need all this stuff in there, or find a valid do, or find a valid don't. One of those three. I don't care which one of the three it is, just that if you find that, then that is a capture. But what I think it's trying to do is say, like, it's not quite doing the right thing, because what it ends up happening is when I run this, I say it only gets the 4. So it just gets the mulls. It doesn't get the other do and the don'ts, which is what I would want. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, they're all getting all 6 groups. But what it's assuming is it's thinking it should have a... Yeah, it's not quite what I'm expecting it to do. So if it could just tell me, like if there's just a way to say either give me where it's a mul, or it's a do, or it's a don't. And if that's true, then include that as a find, as a match. But the or doesn't seem to quite work. Well, looking up or is going to be ridiculous because huh. Matches A, B, C, or D, E, F, D, E, F. But not. Well, it looks like it should. Maybe what I need to say is I need to put some space in here. Otherwise, I'm not going to make sense of this. Maybe what I need to say is that or a do or a don't. Match with 2 alternate expressions. But yeah, you see, that's not quite right because it's saying it's like it needs to know that this is or maybe I'm doing that wrong. Yeah, does your input have a do or don't? I always say do not mul in addition to mul. It's the rule is if you come back to the problem, you're saying like here is a valid match now. This is a valid match. Do is a valid match here, and then mul is a valid match here. You notice that the mul here is not valid because it ends with a bracket, not a parenthesis. Maybe because I don't know anything better. Yeah, I don't think that's... I don't think that's right at all. Yeah, look in your code though. I don't understand what you mean look in my code. That's just the input. They're just saying it's random input, but this is what you match on. The do not mall doesn't matter. It's either, oh, you son of a, thank you. Not you. I didn't realize that the input had changed. The do not mall to, yeah, son of a, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Hold on, let's back up the bus here. I still don't know if it's correct though. So let's take this, put it in my part 2. Now they're saying this time the result should be 48, so at least get 48 in there, but I don't think this is going to work. Yeah. Well, let's see what it's getting now. So now we're getting 6. Ah! Guy comes through. Guy comes through. So now what we can do is we can look at the matches and just say, well, if the value starts with mul, then we have to look if we're enabled. If it starts with do parentheses, then we enable. If it starts with don't, we don't need the parentheses there, or just don, we could say don, that's enough. We disable. Thank you, Guy. Holy sugar. That would have... Holy crap. Okay, I was about to stop because I need to work out, but let's do this. Var... See, now it's not mul matches, it's operation matches. I would not, so we're going to say operations. And now what we need to do is say var operation text is equal to operations.value as a string. Okay. If operation text starts with mul, okay. And are you doing the whole string comparison current culture? If it starts with mul and now we need is enabled, is enabled, because that's important now. We can't do what we want to do here. Now we can do this. Because we know that's valid. Else if it starts with do, then is enabled is automatically true. Now you're wondering why I just did that. Why is it? Ah, okay. Very clever, Visual Studio. Very clever. So I think this would now, if we get a multiply instruction, and we're enabled, we do what we did before. Else, if we find a do instruction, we enable. Otherwise, we don't do anything. I don't know if this is true though. If it's not, because it either is going to start with the mul, it's going to start with the do, it's going to start with the don't. If it starts with the don't, that means we disable, so it would be set to disable. What does the test do now? Still doesn't pass. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So let's see what happens now. We have 6 matches. So we get the operations. This is mul 2-4. And the operation text is mul. So it starts with that. Oh, because of the way the capture groups works. It's now in 2 and 3. Okay, that's fine. Now it passes. And I believe it's the same input file as before. Let's go to our program. Part 2 is solution day 3. Part 2 on day 3. Is that correct? Guy, I owe you a beer. Or whatever your favorite mixed drink is. Because if I didn't see that, I would have been up a crick. I would have been like, why is this not working? Why is it? Yeah, I think I eventually figured out the input doesn't match. But we now have that. So git commit stash. Day 3, part 2 is done. All right, with that, I'm going to stop. So again, if you're new to the channel and you're watching, or if you watch this in the future, thank you either way. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. This is going decently so far, but I know that the first couple of days are typically not as bad. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So we'll see how this ends up in future episodes, but I don't know if I'm going to stream, was it Thursday? I'm getting lost on a two week vacation. Today is a Thursday. So, I will probably stream in the morning tomorrow. I do have a karate lesson in the afternoon. We're basically taking the 2 that we do, my older son and I, over the 2 weeks of the holiday and putting it into 1 on Friday. So that's in the afternoon. So I might do a stream tonight. I might do stream tomorrow morning, but I definitely want to continue on with this and see how far it goes. Workout also, I've been putting it off all day. Yeah, he's like, man, I just got a free drink by helping somebody out. So again, thank you. Please subscribe if you haven't done that already. I am definitely planning on continuing on my adventure with Random.Code 2024. With that, I am going to stop. Thank you all for stopping by. Take care. Hope to see you in the future.